is I got your title right, is the Vice President of International at Derive Systems. And if I understand that your company is particularly concerned about customizing vehicle performance, optimizing vehicle performance in terms of the vehicle's efficiency and performance. Would that be about right?
Correct.
Okay, so we're going to hear from Justin, Vice President of Drive Efficiency, about how he sees the future in his business.
Good afternoon. When we first started talking about this topic with Jumana, a lot of what we're talking about today is spare parts and maintenance. We come from the aftermarket in a different side. We come from performance and efficiency. So what Derive does is allow you to get into the vehicle's engine control unit and transmission control unit and make changes for better performance of the vehicle, and that can be in the form of more horsepower and more torque, or that can be in the form of more efficiency, saving fuel by recalibrating the engine and transmission and customizing the performance of the vehicle. So the specific topic we wanted to cover today is about warranty and what impact does anything that we do in the spare parts and maintenance or performance sector have on warranty. And this is from a U.S. perspective. This is based on our experience as a U.S. company that does business in about 78 countries. We've been here in the UAE for about 15 years and throughout the GCC for about the same amount of time. So just a general overview, a lot to cover, and I touch on warranty at the beginning and get into a little bit more about emissions, official compliance. But just a general overview of what a warranty is, what's defined, some of the history about warranties and how they've developed recently and why. Official compliance requirements, this is how you become an official certified supplier of parts for a lot of the OEs in the States again, and some of this applies internationally. And then what the value we bring as an aftermarket, why are we here today as an industry, and then what does the future hold? And again, this is from our perspective. So warranty is insurance on a vehicle, and it ensures that a vehicle is going to last for a certain amount of time. It covers specific parts, components, and that's defined by the manufacturer of the vehicle. So some companies refer to their warranty as bumper to bumper. It covers everything on the vehicle. So that's one type of warranty that's offered. Some companies will only offer a powertrain warranty, and so that's going to cover engine, transmission, a various list of components, which is specified in the warranty document. And then a rust-through warranty. These are the three most common types. So the rust-through warranty, it covers anything on the exterior, or anything on the interior, but on the exterior, surface rust is not included, and that's due to how the customer chooses to treat their vehicle. So, given the variety of type of warranties, it's often, especially in the aftermarket, more helpful to talk about what's not covered rather than what is covered, especially for those that are in the industry of the aftermarket. So basically anything that's designed to wear out, like tires, brakes, brake pads, wiper blades, all of those things have a separate warranty that's provided by the manufacturer of that part and not covered by the vehicle manufacturer. And then often if you modify a vehicle with non-factory parts, that may void the warranty. And what we'll talk about later is why that is and then how you control for that. But if you put, these are just some examples, if you put a new audio head unit in and the speakers blow out, you're likely going to be needing to cover that directly with the aftermarket part manufacturer, not with the vehicle manufacturer. And the same with changing suspension or tires, any aftermarket part. So new car warranties have changed a lot in the recent years, and as a result, quality of vehicles have improved a lot, so warranty has also increased. So warranty coverage has become a very significant selling point for the manufacturers. And just giving an example here, Hyundai has released a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, where previously most manufacturers were offering 3-year, 36,000 miles. So now everybody else is being forced to compete to similar standards. And then 2008, we called it the GFC, or the Great Recession. there was a lot of compliance that needed to be instituted in order to regulate warranties even more specifically, and so warranty compliance has become much more of a topic of conversation at the state level, not just at the federal level in the U.S. So one of the laws that you'll hear referred to if you ever come to a show like SEMA or Automechanica is the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act. This is an act that was instituted more than 25 years ago, more than 35 years ago now, and basically what it establishes is the need for the manufacturer to prove what the defects are when a consumer brings their vehicle in for warranty. And so at its most basic level, the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, which is enforced by the Federal Trade Commission in the United States, makes it illegal for the manufacturer to void a warranty without first proving it. So what they have to do then, which we talk about here, is it's the federal regulation spelled out where the manufacturer has to evaluate what the problem is and then tell the end consumer what the defect is and why they may be voiding the warranty. So just going a little bit deeper here, and again, try to get through those quickly, but in terms of official compliance, emissions is probably the biggest topic that we have today to talk about in the industry, specifically because of pollution. We heard battery conversation earlier. There's all sorts of alternative technologies that are coming online, compressed natural gas, liquid natural gas. And so in terms of official compliance, and a great way to be a good actor as an aftermarket auto parts supplier is to become officially emissions compliant, which essentially means that you're not going to increase the emissions in a vehicle. So when you're changing the program, in the case of Derive, to add more fuel efficiency or more performance, the onus really is on Derive and our competitors and our colleagues to prove that we are not making a vehicle more detrimental to the environment. So in the United States, the Environmental Protection Agency is the one that regulates the Clean Air Act. And what I talk about here, and again, just kind of skipping through the California Air Resources Board, which is known as CARB, is the most stringent agency in the United States that regulates emissions. And so we can get an executive order which says basically that we're qualified to sell our parts in California, and most of the rest of the United States is going to follow those regulations and allow you to officially sell your product if you comply with the California Air Resources Board requirements. So very exhaustive standard. All of our products are certified by the California Air Resources Board specifically so that we can be a good player in the industry. Going a level deeper and talking about collaboration with the OEMs themselves, I give one example here, what Ford does. So Ford is probably our most collaborative OE relationship at Derive. And they've got two programs. One is called a qualified vehicle modifier. So these are the guys that are changing their vehicle from a gas or petrol engine to compressed natural gas, liquid natural gas, electric, hybrid vehicle. So you can actually certify yourself as a qualified vehicle modifier for Ford, or a qualified calibration modifier, which is the process that we've been going through to be officially certified. So again, there's a list of things that you can, and this slideshow will be presented to everybody afterward, but it's a very straightforward process, and you go through the testing and work with Ford to become an officially qualified supplier for them. So just in terms of the value of the aftermarket and why this is such a big deal, the aftermarket is a $350 billion industry in the U.S. It's estimated to be about double that globally. And so this is a big industry, one that serves the intricate needs of the end consumer. And so it's something that is liked by the original equipment manufacturers, but they want us to do things the right way. And I talk about the do-it-yourself consumer and then the do-it-for-me consumer. And the increasing trend is for the do-it-for-me consumer. They want to take their vehicle into a shop, they want everything to be done for them, and then they want everything to be officially certified. So it's increasingly important that we collaborate with the original equipment manufacturers and become part of the process. In the future, and this is actually even today, there's an increasing focus on software. So it's something that we talk about all the time. Things are becoming more automated. Our company has an app that you can download, and you can put a speed limiter in your child's car if you want to lend them the car for the weekend, so they're not exceeding the speed limit in the given territory. So these are the type of things that are happening every day. You hear about Google cars and Tesla's automated technology. So software is becoming more and more important, and a lot of the hard parts that are installed in vehicles need for software to communicate to the vehicle to tell them we're increasing the size of the tires, we're lifting the vehicle, something that's particularly important in the Middle East. So we just give an example of smartphones. You used to get a smartphone and it wasn't all that smart. It was just something that you had to make phone calls. Now you have apps, it's very customizable, and your car is becoming the same. You don't just get in your car anymore and drive it. You have accessibility and customization at your fingertips that you can do, and we want you to do that in the right way. And this one last Copyright Act that I referenced there was an official ruling in October 2015. There was debate between the manufacturers and the consumers who owns the right to the software, and the ruling in the U.S. by the Copyright Office was it's actually the consumer's software. They own that software, and so they're allowed to make changes based on their ownership. So just in order to ensure a smooth collaborative working relationship, what Derive does and what we recommend other people do is to continue to integrate with legislators at the state level. State agencies are becoming more and more involved and requiring more information to be provided with a vehicle. And so they're now requiring statements to be included in the warranty to say it's illegal to deny warranty coverage, to educate the consumer about what they have the ability to do and not to do. And then again, just some examples of the technology that we provide to help fleets and to help end consumers. Again, reference the speed limiter, but as an example of something we do for police departments in the U.S. where they're sitting around idling all day long and burning a lot of fuel, will allow those departments to lower their RPMs when they're sitting in idle, and it saves on wear and tear in the engine, and it improves fuel efficiency by about 20% just through a simple recalibration. So these are the type of customizable functions we're providing. Speed limiters in 1 mile an hour increments. So for Dish Network, a big customer of ours, we have a speed limit of 62 miles an hour in one state, 73 miles an hour in another state. It's fully customizable, and they're able to monitor their drivers and make sure their drivers are being good actors on the road. And then again, this is just a little bit more detail on what we've been doing, but we're encouraging more collaboration in order to provide customers with a safe and enjoyable experience. And again, going back through some of the things that we've been doing in order to collaborate, obtaining our CARB approvals, our EO approvals. Outside the U.S., we work really closely with our customers to obtain the necessary certifications. Again, talk about in Europe, it's TUV, in Australia, it's ADR, here, SASO. So there's a lot of different regulations that are being internationally deployed to help ensure that we're a good actor. One thing we did last year with Ford is we joined them on their transit tour of the U.S. They were displaying technology all throughout the U.S. to fleet managers to show them what they had the ability to customize on their vehicles. And Derive was one of 5 companies that was invited to travel throughout the U.S. with them. We were provided a vehicle so we could show customers what the abilities they had in terms of customization were. And then the Global Fleet Conference is something that's 1 year in Brussels and the next year in Miami. These are all the major fleet players throughout the world that come together and share their experience with the OEMs, with upfitters, with resellers and finance companies to help collaborate on what is the best new technology between telematics and calibration technology. And then again, getting involved in industries like Automechanica, conferences like SEMA. These are things that we do to share information and improve the industry.
So that was very interesting. There's a number of questions, but first of all, just ask the audience. Have any points you'd like to put to Justin about Derive technologies?
Thank you, Justin, for the presentation. Just you have displayed here some things related to the law in USA. How that is complying with the Ministry of Economy term and conditions here?
In the UAE?
Yeah.
It's a very good question. So again, we work with organizations like SEMA and like Automechanica, and we, to a certain extent, rely on the organizations that represent us and that we're members of to collaborate on international laws. So where things are today in the UAE, I'm not exactly sure. I just know that there's a lot of collaboration happening. We've worked with companies at the OE level and at the dealership level here to set up separate automotive divisions of their company so that they can sell our product, install it safely. We've worked with companies like Liberty Motorsports, which was part of Liberty in Sharjah. We've worked with Al Gandhi, which is in UAE, to help develop some of those regulations. But where things are specifically today, I think somebody would need to comment on from a local agency to have the most updated information.
Say something about your approvals with General Motors.
Yeah. Very good question. So General Motors does have a program similar to the Ford QVM and QCM process. It's been a really long process for us to engage with General Motors, which is why we started with Ford. But I know that there is a program out there, and if you want to connect afterward, I can email you with the details that I've found. But it's not been as officially developed as the Ford program that I know.
Hi Justin, my name is Kaushik Madhavan. I'm from Frost & Sullivan. You spoke about recalibration of control units. Usually OEMs spend tens of thousands of man hours and millions of dollars, if not billions, to arrive at a critical balance, which is a very, very delicate combination of efficiency, drivability and performance. So what kind of investments have you made to ensure that over the lifetime of the vehicles, none of these parameters are compromised on?
That's a great question. So what we do at Derive, we have two dynamometers at our facility, which of course we test in a controlled environment, and so we run those vehicles for hundreds of thousands of miles before we release our calibration. In addition to that, we do on-the-road testing. So we've been working with West Virginia University on officially complying with all emissions standards, but also taking vehicles on the road and then testing them over thousands of miles to ensure that those comply. We've worked with North Carolina State University because of some of the development that we did with North Carolina State on some of their efficiency product. And so we spend a lot of time, and I think part of your question as well is why, if the OEMs have spent all this time, what is the room for the aftermarket? I think one of the things that we've recognized, and that even Ford has recognized in our partnership with them, is that there is customization beyond what is to the masses. So as you develop these one vehicle platforms or one Ford platform for all the world, you don't know where that vehicle is going to go, you don't know the conditions. And so if we're able to help customers who suffer from DPF problems in Canada because the weather is too cold, and the Ford platform there is not as specified or customizable, it gives that customer a lot more flexibility to adjust for that particular climate or whatever the speed limit they need is in different regions.
Some RTA in terms of periodic vehicle inspection processes, and one of the now being able to identify some of the failure rates and work through them. And one of the hardest ones was customized and optimized vehicle fittings. Now this is not directly related to you, of course, but there might be some people in the audience asking, if we're interested in your products, what do we need to do to ensure that we have the right skills, the right means and applications and facilities to make it work as a business proposition, first of all, but also to be safe and secure and reliable. Could you comment on that?
So one of the things that we think about when we think about international business, and this took us a long time to learn and we're still learning, but we come to the markets that are important to us and we try to learn about what's different. And it's been 15 years here and we're still at the beginning, I feel. But one of the things that we do is we send our calibration engineers to the specific areas, whether it be Saudi, UAE, Kuwait, Qatar. Every country is different, every condition is different, and we do training. So we recommend, of course, that a lot of the same equipment that we have, they also have. We do webinars, we have online training, but it's really important that all of the tools, and in our case, dynamometers it's a treadmill for a vehicle. It tells you exactly what's going on inside that vehicle. And so we recommend that companies start by actually getting the official equipment that they need, even before they buy our performance calibration technology, so that they can measure what they're doing and we can learn with them about the environment and where they're running the vehicles. So the tools are the most important part, in our opinion, of having the ability to modify the vehicle.
Very good. Thank you, Justin, very much. Do you have any other thoughts? Seems to be it. Thank you very much.